another PaddleNFin for Noobs podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Susie Q.
And I'm your other host, Sean.
Welcome back. How you doing, Sean?
Doing all right. Getting ready for our first tournament of the season for my local trail tomorrow. So I'm excited about that.
Ooh, very nice, very nice. Where you guys having it at?
The very bottom of the Susquehanna where it meets the Chesapeake Bay. So it's my first time fishing down there. So it's what they call the Susquehanna Flats. So
Ooh, interesting.
It should be a good time. I know there's a lot of good fish down there. So
nice. Well, good luck to you. Hopefully that all goes well for you. I'm going to be hitting up my home waters tomorrow for some fun fishing. I haven't been to Banner Marsh in a hot minute. I think since maybe April. It's been a minute. But last weekend, I had my first club tournament down on Newton Lake. It was kind of interesting. We had some weather come in on us right when we were starting to do our award ceremony. So that was fun. But it was still really nice to get out and whatnot. So yeah, and then next weekend I'm going to be going up to Wisconsin for another tournament. So feels good to be back in the swing of things after being out from last year.
I'm sure. I can only imagine.
Right. But today, if some of you guys aren't familiar with the podcast that I used to do solo, Adventures with Outdoor Woman, I've had this lovely lady on before. She is from the lovely state of Utah, that is. Proud to welcome the one, the only, Erin Mathis, everybody.
Hey, thank you. Oh, I missed you, Susie Q. Susie does all of our judging, by the way, as of recently. So she's awesome.
I love it.
She does a great job on the backside there, on the back end, taking care of things. Always has. Yeah.
She does. She loves judging all of our tiny little 10-inch fish.
If your fish gets disqualified, do you call it getting Susie Q'd?
Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, goodness. That's a new thing. I'm going to have to make some trophies. You got Susie Q'd.
You had some pretty nice ones this last one.
This last one was okay. I wasn't too disappointed, that's for sure. So
I gotta say, I always look forward to your identifiers because she'll always write "I love Susie Q" on them for me.
Of course, gotta suck up to the judge, right?
That's right. That's right. So, Erin, if you want, tell the folks a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, that lovely pooch that was with you,
She's gone. Yeah, so I'm a Phoenix native, I should say. I grew up in Arizona, and due to the military, I ended up here in Utah and just fell in love with it. I actually never really fished when I was in Arizona, and had some neighbors that loved bass fishing, and they took me fishing, and I realized I couldn't afford a bass boat, so I bought a super cheap Lifetime and started bass fishing out of that, and which quickly ended up being a hobby, and so I just started fishing the tournaments around here, and I was doing really well. I really enjoyed it, and ended up taking over the club here in Utah about a year and a half after I started fishing, and it's just been awesome. We've started a lot of different things here in Utah. We've grown our club exponentially. We started a youth league, which we'll talk about here shortly. But it's been awesome. I've got a boxer, Kaya. She was in the screen with me. She fishes with me now. Well, she lays in the back while I fish, and we built her a little bimini so she can stay in the shade, and she's got some water and food back there, and so that's kind of my thing now. I've just been enjoying. I don't know, fishing with her. I don't necessarily fish to win anymore because I'm definitely doing the tournaments, but we're getting a little more competitive these days now that KFU is a little more chilled out and I've got it under control. So Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. And I assume KFU is Kayak Fishing Utah?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, that's it. Kayak Fishing Utah. We were established in 2018, and Joe Randall and myself took over about mid 2019, and we've just tried to make it way more family friendly. We're not. I want to say we're a super competitive club because our first tournament this year was 60 people. That's obviously not huge, but it is for us. And this one we actually capped out at 65. I had to put a limit on it because our lakes are so small. And so when you put a limit on it, we cap out real quick. So, but we've grown it a lot. Like I said, the junior league, we started off with like 20, or we started with like 5 kids and then 20. And so, yeah, we're just growing, got a lot of sponsors, a lot of really amazing members that I can't wait to talk about actually. So
awesome.
Very, very
yeah.
cool.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. So yeah, do you want to talk about your youth league and how you got that started?
Yeah, so we have a lot of members here that have children. Not to point out the obvious, but I'm in Utah. There's a lot of LDS here, and they tend to have a plethora of children, which is not a bad thing. And we like to embrace that. And so we decided to become more of a grassroots family club. Regardless of how big we become, we're going to stay that. We keep our rules simple. We try to make it family friendly. We always invite the families to our award ceremony. We make sure that we feed everybody, including all the moms and children and the husbands that are there supporting the wives that are out on the water. And so we try to keep it super family friendly. And it eventually grew into a thing that we didn't want these kids going out paying $60 to join a tournament that they knew they weren't going to win money in. And so it was more of a let's find an outlet for them, and it became a youth league. And Dwayne Wally might yell at me for saying this, but he has actually sponsored our youth league from the very beginning. This doesn't mean everybody gets to go out and to sponsor our youth league, but he was more than gracious to do that for the future anglers. And so every tournament is actually sponsored by him. We don't have to pay that $5 fee per angler when it comes to the youth. And so it is completely separate. We allow ages 3, because I feel like any time before that, you're probably not fishing, 3 to 15, or 3 to 15. So as long as you're 15 before our first tournament starts for the season, you can be in the junior league the entire year. At one point, we had over 25 kids, I believe. Which was, I know, almost bigger than most clubs, right? So it was pretty awesome. They're out there. We make sure the tournaments are the same time as the adult league. So it's unfortunate for the parents that have to go and do it because they have to pay a lot more attention to their kids. But really, it's actually worked out beautifully because those parents honestly are out there for their kids. They're not out there for themselves. They join our tournament for the experience and for the opportunity to just hang out with everybody and have a good time. They don't necessarily do it for themselves, or else they probably wouldn't be bringing hauling their kids around. So one year, I want to say last year or the year before, both years, Loomis, he was 3 years old when he started with us. He stood up on his own kayak. He would fish. He was in the Bassmaster Magazine.
Wow.
And he would kick those kids' butts. Like, he would fish the first half of the day, and then he would have to take a nap by lunch. So his dad would.
I'm kind of digging this, that doesn't sound too bad.
No, right? So his dad would tie his kayak to his, and he would just port him around. And we allow that for the kids because I don't expect an adult with a motor to have to wait for his child. So I'm fine if they move the kids around where they're going, but yeah, it worked out perfectly. That kid won so many medals, and he was like super shy at first, and towards the end of the season, he's like, "Look at my medal," like in front of everybody. He was my absolute favorite. Unfortunately, his father is not unfortunately. Fortunately for the United States, his father is part of the Air Force, but unfortunately for KFU, they had to move away. But I still keep in touch and get to FaceTime Loomis all the time. He calls me Miss Erin, which is like, I know it's a super like Southern Eastern thing, but that's not here, but I love it. So now the youth league's been just a great thing. We've got two kids this year. One of them actually turned 16 before the first tournament, and the other one actually he does so well, he wanted to try his hand at the adult league. So that's kind of like what we're trying to do for them, is get them ready to, you know, fish the adult tournaments, learn great sportsmanship, learn you know, to be a humble loser, a humble winner, and just to like share your experience with everybody. And I think honestly that's what it's all about for these kids, and just getting out there with their parents, really. So these two kids that have joined the adult league, one of them, we had 60 anglers. He plays ninth, and he's only 15. So technically he could still fish junior league, but he wanted to try his hand, and he's proven himself. So I'm excited to see where he goes this year, for sure.
Wow. And you said that first kid you were talking about was 3.
When he started, yeah.
When
I think he's 5
3.
now. 3 winning medals. Yeah. Against like 10 to 18 kids. He was winning second place all the time. Yeah.
Wow.
My God, I
Yeah.
have a nephew that's going to be turning 6, and I'm trying to like visualize that in my head. And I'm like, when my nephew was 3, I don't think he even would have like bothered with like a fishing pole then. And I'm just like, you know,
when your dad names you Loomis, like, do you have any other chance, right?
right.
So,
First off, my wife would never let me get away with that. But second of all, you know.
that's funny. I get it. I understand.
That is awesome. So, and forgive me if you said this already. So, when did you start the youth league?
I think that was 2020. So we took over mid 2019, and then 2020 at the beginning of the season is when we decided to go with the junior league. And we started off with like a $20 membership just to get them some extras, you know, help me buy some things or get some sponsors on board. And now I'm just doing it for free because I've got enough sponsors, and like I've actually. I have like the best club ever. I've got these two guys. The one that the kid is still 15 and he plays ninth. It's his dad and his uncle, and it's Jason and Rich Conley. I'm just going to throw them a shout out, but they've decided to take over junior league. Well, I made them take over junior league, and so they, you know, we got our trophies donated to us this year, so they're going to be buying things for all the kids that compete this year. Every tournament they get something special, like a nice mug and some baits or something. So it's been awesome. It really has been cool.
That's awesome. So yeah, that's going to be like my next question. Like, you know, not only being like a tournament director, I mean, I know you've probably got, you know, staff and whatnot, but, you know, the coordination you probably have to do with, you know, sponsors and whatnot, you know, not only for your adult league, but for your youth league as well. You know, talk to us about that too.
You know, I have to say I've been really crappy this year when it comes to sponsors. Last year we essentially employed one of our anglers, and she was amazing. She got out and got us so much cash sponsorship, and which I cannot thank her enough, because this year, I mean, we had the longest winter, and I'm sure both of you could probably agree with this, but it was like depressing. Like, we literally had snow 3 weeks ago, and so like I'm in a tank top today, so that tells you how bipolar Utah is. It's been insane. Like the weather has just been so off. I've been depressed as far as like just not being able to get out in nature like I always want to.
Yes.
So I kind of slacked on sponsors this year because the lady who was great with us last year, she's just kind of taken a step back for just personal reasons, and I'm so grateful for her. But I just kind of put it out there and said, okay, members, like, we do this for free, just help us out. Like, I need your help. Go to your employers. If you own a business, go to your insurance companies, go to your eyeglass doctors, you know, like, let them know what we do and see what you can get. And so I'm kind of putting it out there and putting it on them, because if they want, I hate to say this, we do this for free. So if they
Yeah.
want those sponsorships and all those extra goodies and all of that extra stuff, like I need their help, honestly. I have a full-time job myself. I'm an aerospace engineer. Like I don't have a ton of time for myself. And so like I need their help, and they've been phenomenal. I'm not going to give away too much of this because it's supposed to be a surprise for somebody that I think might watch this before this tournament. But one of my members, not only did they go to their company and they got us $100 like sponsorship, so I sent him a net on Amazon, like one of the Yak Attack nets, and said, "Have him buy this. That's perfect." He's donating a it's one of the Lifetimes, the more stable ones. I can't even think what the name is right now. I've had too much of this. Yes, red silicone. Stealth Pro. So he's donating a Stealth Pro, and then we got a fish finder for this person and everything. And he messaged me and said, "Do you know anybody in our club that is riding an older kayak that could use an upgrade?" He said, "I didn't have a lot to grow up on, and I want to give back." And so this weekend, I'm surprising somebody, and I can't say who, I want to so bad, but they're going to have a brand new kayak with a fish finder and things that they definitely don't have. And I am just so grateful for them. Like, our members are the best. They're constantly.
Gosh, that's so awesome.
I know. Like, this next tournament, some of my members decided they wanted to get a 15-pound, like, pork roast. They're going to do pulled pork sandwiches for the whole club. Like, we just have such a family friendly, everybody hangs out, we all camp together. It's just, I really have an awesome club. I really can't complain.
Right. Like I see your Facebook feeds all the time of like your camping fiascos and everything, and just like your club in general, just the overall feel. I get that family and that camaraderie feel.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And just like I've experienced different clubs before, and like I'll see yours and I'm just like, I feel like sometimes like some of our clubs are missing that, because I don't know, like we kind of sort of had that in the beginning, and then like we've kind of grown, but like there's been other clubs and whatnot. Everybody's kind of separated off, but yet we're still involved with, the same clubs and whatnot. But just like, I don't know, I feel like parts of the family have kind of broken off into other parts, type of thing. It's just like you guys have just you've held it together for quite a while, and I just like, I'm envious of that, and I'm just like, I wish I could have that.
I don't know if this makes a difference, but all of our lakes are really far apart, so it's almost like if you want to be there at 4 a.m., you almost have to camp. And so we all just kind of like got this. It's almost like we know who's going to camp and who's not, basically. There's some people that will only Airbnb, and that's fine. I get it. I'll camp out of the back of a truck if I have to. But, it's, there's always this set group of people. And then everybody's always willing just to share. Like, nobody takes something but doesn't return. She's trying to get my wine. This is Kaya, by the way. Wino. So no, it's just been such a great experience with these people. We don't, I mean, just to be blunt, like we don't have the same religious backgrounds. Some of us drink, some of us don't, some of us have medicinal purposes that we use things for, some of us don't. And so it's like everybody has their own ideas and their own ways of living, and everybody's just cohesive. Everybody's just really awesome to each other, and it hasn't been better. That baby kangaroo just walked by me again. I'm not joking. He's in a bag right there. I see him.
But before we started recording, she was talking about how there was this baby kangaroo that she saw, and she was really excited. So she talked about
if you see a guy that walked right back this way with a pink bag, the baby kangaroo is sitting in that bag right now. It's the cutest thing. It was a baby kangaroo. Cool. The first time I've ever seen that.
That's so awesome.
Just taking him for a walk right now.
Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome.
Anyway.
So with the youth league, you're really even priming the pump for the future of the adult league then too. I mean, if you're already having to cap some of the events, I mean, that's gonna, I mean, talk about growth. That's really gonna help that as well. I mean, well, make your
Yeah,
job more difficult, but also in a good way.
sure.
That you're gonna have good membership because odds are if they're fishing now, they're gonna probably follow that through to
Well,
the
that's
adult league.
exactly it. Yeah, exactly. And it's been great. Like we use the youth league as more as a teaching tool. So we give them rules, and it's pretty similar to adults, minus they can have help. They have to cast, hook, and reel in by themselves, but they can have help netting it and taking the picture. The picture does have to be in their kayak. So again, the rules are extremely similar to adults, but I think we just allow a lot more leeway as far as that goes. I can't even remember if netting, helping somebody net, is a rule in my league. Probably just because unless somebody took a video of it, I can't really say yay or nay, right? But we just give them a little bit more leeway, and I use it as a teaching tool. So if their pictures are blurry, but you can figure it out, or their pictures are at a bad angle, I'll give them all the points, but just say, hey, let your junior know. And I always address the parents, not the kids, and just say, hey, let your junior know that like next time try and take a picture way overhead, or make sure they get a bit like less blurry picture. Just saying, or even if maybe a pinky nail is under the gill, I'm not going to DQ a fish from a junior. Like they worked hard to catch that damn fish. Like we're going to give it to them. So
Right.
there's rules, but we're way more lenient with the kids. And then what sucks is when they transferred over to the adult league, and I'm having to DQ their pictures now. I can't give that leniency, and that has happened with our month longs, and but it's just the way of it. I can't. When it comes to money, there's no question. It's black and white. There's no gray. So that's where we're at with that.
Yep. Yep. So what would you say like your average like age range is for like your youth league?
Probably 10.
10?
Probably.
It's
Yeah,
not
I would
bad.
say I would say 10 to 12. We had a few older kids last year, but at the same time I had 3, 4, and 5-year olds out there. So I mean really, yeah. I couldn't do it. I was dating
Oh,
I'll be honest, I was dating a guy that had 2 kids, younger kids, when I actually started the junior league, and that definitely helped. I'm not going to give that person much credit, but that definitely helped us form the junior league. But it was tough, like because he didn't have a lot of fishing experience. I was mostly out there with his kids, trying to fish my own tournament and not get frustrated with them for not paying attention, or getting bullied. Like, how do you people do this? But it all comes down to like we had Sand Hollow last year. That's in southern Utah. It's always our first tournament because it's still we were iced over during Sand Hollow up north, but down south it was like 70 degrees. And the Nick Brown, he owns Native Custom Rods. He's a great sponsor of ours as well. But he's got 3 juniors this year in it. He's got 2 of his sons, Baron Brown, or Bear Brown's his last name, Baron Hoyt, and then his daughter Madison is in it now this year. And so now he's got 3 juniors. What's awesome is stepdad is also involved.
Wow.
So stepdad comes out and fishes with them, and he helps with Baron Brown and now Madison. But Joe and I found Hoyt. Hoyt's one of the juniors out kind of by Nick, and Nick was trying to target an 18-inch bedded fish. And so Joe and I immediately went over to Hoyt because Hoyt saw a bedded fish too. And we're like, what are you doing? He's like, I keep getting caught in the reeds. And we're like, here, let's give you a weedless Ned rig, and just trying to hook him up. And he caught a fish right in front of us. And it was the only one he got to submit that day. And it's like we all just try to help each other. Well, his dad was out there fighting this like 18 to 20-inch fish, and it was like, we try to give those parents a little bit of, if I'm there, I'm going to help their kids out so they can go fish too. I'm not there to win all this. I want money. I want to win. I want bragging rights. But that's not what it's all about, in the end.
right.
So,
Right, but I mean, but being right there on the water, helping those kids, showing them the ropes of everything too is just, gonna be those building blocks and the foundation for
Absolutely.
getting those kids
Yeah.
hooked right then and there and
Yeah.
keeping them there, for the
Yeah.
long run too,
Well, not only that kid takes a medal to his friends and shows his
Yeah.
friends, and his friends are gonna be like, "Holy cow, look, he got a medal. I'm gonna go do that," and that's how
Yeah.
you grow our sport,
It's just
Absolutely.
if they can drag their parents along, that might be the trick
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
We've had some unfortunate incidences with junior league. I actually had to ban a junior and his dad cheating, and then his
Oh, wow.
dad wasn't out on the water with him, and the kid didn't even have a life vest. I cried that entire weekend. Like, that just absolutely broke my heart. And it wasn't their first incident, so that's that was the problem. But anyway, it's like that's what sucks is these parents aren't taking it serious because they're my responsibility on the water.
Right.
When sure, their parents need to be out there with them, but in reality, like these are my kids, and I need to make sure that they're safe. And if they're out there without a parent or something, yeah. So a lot of it takes away from my fishing time, and it doesn't matter because the joys that I get out of it, like I did with Nick Brown's Kid Hoyt, like that, watching him catch it, I screamed louder for him than my 18-inch that I caught that, or 17 and a half that I caught that day. Like that gives me the joy. Me taking 15th, I don't give a shit. Like this kid's, catching his first and only fish for the tournament. That's what it's about for me. So I love it.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Oh man.
that's good.
I hope you continue getting big with that and can continue, not only just getting more kids involved, but getting community involvement with it as well. I mean, whether
Yeah.
it be getting, I don't know if you have like kayak shops around or something like that. No, man.
One.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Some,
See, that's what you need to do. You
I
need to convince
know.
somebody to set up a kayak shop and be like, listen.
It's hilarious because like my main sponsor, and I'll always plug them, is Idaho River Sport. Mine is the first keyword is Idaho. Okay, my main sponsor is four hours north, and they've been incredible to me since the beginning. And it's because we have no mom and pop shops here. The only places that sell Hobies here are REI, and we have a Shields here.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so, like, I always send people up north because they've got ponds that and they've got demo boats and all that stuff. And so, like, we send people up there, and they've been incredible to me. They've always hooked me up. But there's new owners this year, which makes me sad. But I'm grateful for the new ownership. They're still taking care of me this year. But yeah, again, Idaho.
Wow.
We got some local guys that are trying to be old town dealers, but they won't have like a brick and mortar. I mean, that's just too expensive here.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't afford a home here on my own. Like, it's insane. So I can't imagine trying to open up a brick and mortar at this point.
Yeah, well, that and yeah, talking about the season too. It's probably really short for you guys too. I mean, you were just talking what it was snowing 3 weeks ago, so
I know.
I guess it would kind of make sense. Yeah.
And typically our first tournament down at San Hollow, they're hardcore spawning, and it was mostly 15, 16-inch males just making beds. I saw a couple fish twirling or swirling or whatever, you can just poking the badungle or whatever they call it. But like a lot of that was happening down there. But no true spawning fish. I'm hoping this week's even a little chilly up here. Like, I'm about ready to put a jacket on, but I'm hoping that they're spawning here where we are by next week, and this is about a month late in the season for us, so it's been rough. And I'm hoping the season lasts a little bit longer. We typically go till the first or second week of October, and we end up having to go down south for that too. So we'll see.
That's wild.
Damn weather.
I hear you.
I'm sure you guys are both feeling it.
Yeah, well, it was a weird winter. Like, it was warm, but then it kind of wasn't, and then it was kind of warm, but then it was kind of wasn't. It just it was definitely like a weird funk.
Yeah, it's been gnarly. Our cities are flooding here. We've got roads closed to some of our major lakes. The canyons are like falling off. The canyon
Jeez.
roads are falling off the mountains into the river, and yeah, it's been pretty gnarly.
Oof.
But we'll get through it. It's fine.
Right.
I'm ready to move to Tennessee.
Well, it was cold when we were down there too.
Yeah.
Go
It
figure,
was
right?
nice up until like that like that Friday, I think is when that front came through, and then yeah, it was cold that morning again. Every year, without a
Yep.
doubt,
Yeah,
it's cold.
yeah.
Now,
Jeez.
I'm not, super familiar with Utah. Like, how far away or apart are your events? Like, if you're covering the whole state with your club, right?
Yeah, we are essentially. Yeah, last year was the first time we went out to Flaming Gorge, and Flaming Gorge is probably the largest reservoir, minus maybe Bear Lake. Bear Lake has no bass; it's all lake trout. That sits between Idaho and Utah. Flaming Gorge is between Utah and Wyoming, and it's pretty much split in half. And that's probably our largest one. Powell is also obviously a big one. I think that sits mostly in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't had a tournament there. The winds scare me, but the fishing there is great. I'm trying to figure out if it's something that's even viable for us. Other than that, like our first tournament, I'm in about Salt Lake City, and so that was probably 4 or 5 hours for me. This tournament is an hour and a half for me. And then like our next couple tournaments are probably about an hour. They're all about at least an hour from each other, and then we've got one that's about 3 hours to the east. So we're pretty much all over the place. So we kind of go all over the state, really. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, it's fun. I mean, I try to cater to everybody. We've got big populations in smaller areas, so I'm trying to cater to everything without me having to travel 5 hours south 5 times a year. So
Yeah. And I can see why
Right.
you camp then too, because yeah, that's
every
that's
time. I've
Yeah,
got to
I'm like,
take so much stuff to give out, and then it's like we cook for everybody, so we've got grills and propane tanks. It's just so much easier to camp. It's more fun anyway.
oh yeah, yeah. The camaraderie, that just helps with
Mhm.
that even more. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
have you ever thought about doing any rivers?
We don't have any rivers that have bass in them that are like big, like big enough to turn a Hobie around. Maybe there's one, and it's Bear River, and sorry, little kids waving at me. So, gotta wave back. I don't know. I hate kids. I'll be honest.
Because like
Um,
I'm looking at the state, and maybe I'm zooming in at like different rivers, and so like there's like White Canyon, but like I don't know if these are like rapid rivers or if these are just like canyon rivers.
So, mind you, we are a blue ribbon trout fishery state. Like, we pride ourselves on the trout fishing here, which is pretty
Ah,
unfortunate. I got into fly fishing just because I live here now, and it's incredible. But, like, I would never want to do that tournament wise. So, there's probably like one or two rivers that Bear River that flows into Cutler. Cutler is one that we're doing for the first time this year. It's a power plant fed river slash reservoir, all hydro power plant, but and it's like marshy, but the permits there are insane for me to. So it's the first time we're doing it, but the payouts aren't going to be as good, unfortunately, because the permits are insane. I have to go through the Pacific Core electrical company to get it all, which isn't. And our permits are pretty expensive here anyway. Plus, we have to get insurance for every single tournament too. But
yep.
it's kind of a pain here. Everything has to be very legal, legit. The state wants its money, and that's fine. I don't mind paying the DNR and DWR because they hopefully keep our stuff clean and maintain and all that. But so yeah, Bear River is the only one that I know that has a consistent feed of smallmouth and largemouth bass, and
Okay.
the other ones, it's almost like they trickle through the dams. So there's not a big population.
Ah, okay, gotcha. And
So
see,
it's unfortunate.
coming from the Midwest, like you don't think about that,
I
because
know.
I'm used to muddy rivers, and stuff like that. and cornfields, you know, where you got desert and mountains, you know.
Canyons.
So it's like, oh yeah, go Susie.
And mind you, almost every except for the one I'm on today, the max depth there is maybe 30 feet, but like 99% of the reservoirs here are just steep rock canyons that go down to like 400 feet. Like it's just,
Jesus.
Wow.
finding those coves is where it's at. Unless you're smallmouth fishing, you might find a decent bag off some rocks. It's really tough here. It is not, and we don't maintain it like we should. Like they allow you to keep 5 bass of any inches or weight here. So it's
Really?
yeah. There's no limit. There's no slot limit here. Unfortunately, they do for a cutthroat trout. And we're a trout fishery. So this is one of the things I'm working towards. I'm, nobody wants to like be best friends with the DNR, or DWR, but like I do. I'm doing an event with them tomorrow. I'm doing intro to kayak fishing at another reservoir. Got to drive to tomorrow morning. So we're doing an intro to kayak fishing with them, and so that to me is like let's gain some common ground, and then let's talk bass. Like, it doesn't always have to be about trout. You've got some great bass fisheries around here that we can just grow. Let them keep them 12-inch bass. We've got thousands upon thousands of them. Let them keep those 10-inchers. Let's leave those 15-inch bass here. Like, that's rare for us. The biggest bass, okay, this helps you. The largest bass we've had submitted in Kayak Fishing Utah history is a 21.5, I believe, or maybe a 21.75. So not big. And that's one,
That's
know.
Yeah.
But just one though. I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
And we've been going on since 2018, so we've been going on 6 years. We average, 50 people a tournament. That's not very good. I've seen a 22. I've seen a 22 come out of here. I've not seen larger. Somebody told me they caught a 24. I've not seen proof of that, but like I believe them, and I'm sure they're in there, but they're so few and far between, and we just don't conserve them like we should.
Right.
And so that's something I'm hoping to work on in the future. I've got so much on my plate now. It's like one of those slow rolling things. I got to become besties with them first, and then we'll move forward.
The great thing about Tourney X though is you can download your tournament data and say, hey, this is the fish links that we've caught out of this lake. Here you go.
That's actually that's exactly. I've talked to a few of the DNR guys, and they wanted to know where we caught them, and I was like, well, if you give me like a week, I can probably go through every single submission. And I don't like to do that anyway. Being the tournament director and fishing my tournaments, I don't go in and look where people caught their fish. It's why I hire you. Susie, are you busy next Saturday? We'll talk later, but I don't want to go in and make people think that I'm untrustworthy, and they either have to trust me or not, because I have access to that data 24/7. But I'm not going to do that just because I don't want to be that person. But I could do that and give all that information to them, but it's a lot of work, and so I think that you're right. Like if we just say, hey, these are the length of fish we're catching, we're talking some really skilled anglers here in Utah, and let's work on this, whether we put in fake structures or whatever it might be. It's something needs to happen here.
Right.
Get it on their radar anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
And everything is in there for a reason too. The smallmouth and the trout, they coexist,
Yes.
So they gotta be helping each other out some way. If we're just taking them left and right, surely that has an impact on the ecosystem some way, shape, or form.
And it's unfortunate here because we can catch so many 10 and 12 inchers that when I look online, it's people always they're catching and keeping the 18 to 20s, those are our 15-year-old fish here.
Right.
And I don't blame them. It's legal for them. I'm never going to say anything bad. Like, that's your legal limit. You keep and catch, especially if you're feeding your family. I don't care. Like, as long as you're being legal about it, that's fine. But it's just tough watching that when I think they would, we could really conserve our bass community by just keeping those 10 and 12 inchers and say, like, leave a 15-inch fish alone, But it's tough.
Like what's a normal like bag for like that takes your tournament?
Let's see here. So state championship, we went down to San Hollow, and the first day I was in first. My bag was 82 inches. That's down south at San Hollow. Up north, we've never hit 90. I can tell you that much. 87 might be max.
Wow.
I always had to laugh because I went to a tournament at New Melones in California. Not this recent one. I went 4 years ago, and I got 83rd place with 83 inches or something like that. And you ready for this? A week before, I won our tournament with 67.
Wow.
Holy cow.
So it's like,
How's that for perspective?
So we used to allow 8-inch fish. That's how bad it was. And so I upped it to 10-inch fish because we got a lot more anglers. And so it's like we were paying judges per fish. Now I'm kind of just letting Susie Q just give me like, hey, how much was your day worth? Just tell me. I don't even care. Like, what was it worth to you? We just appreciate having you. It's not a big deal. But yeah, we used to pay per fish, so we went up to 10 inches, 10-inch fish, which is still pathetic. But it's I would say like 70 inches is probably a decent bag around here for a majority of our tournaments.
That definitely,
especially our smallmouth tournaments.
Sure. Yeah.
It's sad. I know, but it's a grind. Like this teaches you to fish in a way you'll never fish anywhere else, which is also a bad thing because I went to other places fishing the way I fish here and didn't catch anything. Louisiana. Oh hi, Louisiana. Oh gosh, fishing those cypress trees. Susie, you did so good that first day, and I was like, I have no idea. I just don't want to get eaten by a freaking gator.
That's right. Yeah, that was what year was that? 2019.
It was 2019, yeah.
For the KBF National Championship down in Shreveport. That's right. I don't know.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I didn't. You rocked it that day.
First day, but then that second day.
My second day, I did great because I didn't care what I was doing. Right. I was already out of it. There was no way I was going to hit top 100.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, good stuff. Oh goodness. What else?
Oh gosh, let's see here. What else indeed? Let's see here. Well, I do have to ask because this had popped up on your memories. And
just put the picture up. It's fine.
I am gonna share this because it's pretty awesome. and for those who are listening to this, so this is a picture of Erin starfished out on a poop emoji floaty with a fishing rod. And she had been fighting a sturgeon, correct?
That's correct.
You gotta tell us this story.
Oh man, it's like the most unattractive picture of me ever in my entire life. And I don't even care because it brings people laughter. Oh man. All right. So I made friends with Mike McKinstry, and he came out to Utah to film a couple episodes with us for his Bassmaster Hunter TV. And I said, let's go sturgeon fishing. And you took it away. I'm so sad. So we did a few episodes with Sasquatch Hunter TV, and I said, let's go sturgeon fishing. And we went and looked at Snake River, and the cubic feet per se, it was just flowing way too fast. So that was actually out of the question for that time. And he's like, I need to catch a sturgeon. And so we found this. It's a pond. I won't lie. It's a stocked pond, and it was the best experience of my life. And I'll give you a few. I hated fishing stocked pond. However, Sturgeon to me are like dinosaurs, and I feel like they should be extremely respected, and especially in Idaho and those places, they're actually, you have to release them alive, or you get big fines and stuff. And so my thought was, if I'm ever going to fish the Snake River for them, I need to learn how to properly handle them. I don't know anything about sturgeon, never fished them before. And so this was like the perfect place. I actually wish I had his name, and I'll be happy to send that to you to plug later. But he owns this sturgeon pond up in Parma, Idaho. And so we drove up there, and he let us camp right next to it. It's a pretty darn big pond. He had one 7-foot sturgeon in there. I think his name was Michael Jackson or something like that. I can't remember. He had a name. And there was, I don't even know how many sturgeon were there. You cast in there catching a sturgeon. He gave us rods. He gave us these bottles of pickled herring to catch them with. And so we're just catching off the side, and some of us are going on the kayak, and Mike's doing his thing, filming everything. And this girl comes up. She knew that I was coming, so she came and met us. They had a camel come as well, by the way, like kangaroos, camels. I don't know what it is with me, camping and like random crazy animals.
You never know what you're gonna get.
But Clyde the camel was there. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll probably see him. And this girl came, and she's like, "We've got some poop emojis we're gonna go out in." And I was like, "Okay." Like, nobody actually had to talk me into it. I mean, I didn't even think I was drunk. I think I just said okay. And I wore my life vest just in case I got wrapped up in a line, because these lines are like 80, 100-pound, line tests or whatever. And you can't use, you have to use barbless hooks and everything. You gotta be really gentle with them. Their spines are very, I don't know if you've ever caught sturgeon, but their spines are very fragile. You don't want to take them out of the water. It's his pond, so he'll let you, like, if he has handy capable people that are there that are fishing, he'll help them take it out of the water, take pictures of them. He's awesome. Like, just a great experience of catching sturgeon. And so I went out on this poop emoji, and I unfortunately foul hooked a 5-foot sturgeon in its top fin. And I was fighting that mother effer forever. I tore my bicep muscle.
Oh.
I broke the rod.
Oh.
It was in my armpit the entire time, and the end of it broke off. And like, I finally, you don't see it in his video, but like, my buddy Kyle came out in his kayak. We got it to the surface, and as soon as it kicked at the surface, it came off. I didn't even care. I got to see it. It was like 10, 20 minutes. And at the very end of Mike's video on Bass Squatch Hunter TV, all you see is me barely holding on to this guy's kayak. Starfish shot of me, taking me back to shore, because I am just exhausted. So that was me laying back on this thing. I just lost my glass. Laying back on this thing, trying to hold on to this stupid rod. And it was on a drone. Like, I didn't even know. Thank you, Michael McKinstry.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. He posted that without asking me, and I called him. I'm like, I will kill you. I will literally kill you if you don't take that down. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. It was an earned starfish, okay?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
That was that.
Very cool story.
Awesome.
So now my next we'll say bucket list item is to actually go out on the Snake River and catch a wild sturgeon in my kayak. So
nice.
Still can't take them out of the water, but there's some like 9-10 footers out there. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh man,
I
that
can't
would
imagine.
be.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a trip.
I'm gonna scream like a girl. It's gonna happen. It's fine. So
Nice.
yeah.
Another thing I meant to ask you that I forgot earlier, are there any, I know last year you said you had like a lady donor or something, but do you have any other lady members?
We do actually. I think at one time we had almost 10, and that's a lot. Yeah, so I want to say it was close to 10. We've had one, she's been with us since the very beginning. It's probably Sandy. She's the one I probably talked. She's my like, life goal. She's, gets out on there and walker. Her husband helps put the kayaks down and get her all set up. She's in her walker, her cane, and she gets in, she fishes nearly every event. They had to miss our first event this year,
Oh,
which was very rare for them. But she'll be back out there the next weekend. But yeah, and we've had some new ones. We've got two brand new ladies coming this weekend. One is the girlfriend of one of our anglers. And the other one's just she's like, I fished with my dad in a couple boat tournaments. I want to try it out. So I immediately messaged her and was like, what do you need? Like, I don't mean to like cater to our women more. I do reach out to every brand new angler if I can. But the women, just because I know how nervous I was, and I'm not saying that men and women get nervous separately, but like, I just know like it's a man's world. And so I just try to give her a little bit more support and was like, what do you need? This is where I'm going to be. Like, here's my phone number if you have any questions. And then I do try to do that with all brand new members, but mostly the women, make her feel comfortable. So,
heck yeah.
so
That's
yeah, this
awesome.
year, I think our first tournament, I think we have 5 fishing this tournament next weekend.
Nice.
That's
So
really
it's
good.
not
That's
too bad. I was really surprised. I'll say this. So I went to New Melones, the Native No Limit tournament. And it was the 182 angler blast off at one frickin' launch.
that was awesome. That
I was,
photo that you took, and then
yeah,
yes.
yes. I was the only woman in that tournament.
Wow. That's
Can you believe that?
surprising.
That does
That's
I
surprise me.
couldn't
surprising.
I couldn't believe it. Like I've actually, before I went there, I watched a ton of YouTubes, just trying to
Hmm.
see what's active. And mostly I watched a bunch of like these Asian women's YouTubes. They were, just shore fishing, but there was a ton of them. And I was like, oh man, I hope they joined the tournament. But I was the only female there. I could not believe it. I was really, really
Wow.
surprised.
Hmm.
So
Huh.
I hope they reach out a little bit more. And honestly, I think it's honestly just the demographic here. Like, I think it's just more of
Yeah.
a family oriented state. And I don't mean that in any positive or negative way compared to anybody else. But,
Right.
it's very family friendly state here. And so I think a lot of the wives either come with their husbands or, it's just been great. I've been really, and maybe it's the fact that I'm a female TB too. I don't know. I don't know what draws them in, but I'm, hoping that helps.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm still the only girl in my club.
Really?
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
members do you guys have?
We still have 50 members.
Okay.
Yeah. And I
We actually
mean,
dropped a lot from last year.
oh yeah.
I don't know if it's economy or what, but we dropped a ton of members, or maybe it's just me not promoting, but probably that.
Yeah,
But
so like, yeah, well, our club, so the way that we have it is so we'll have it so that we have like a limit of 50 members, and then
okay.
we'll open our event up to 5 non-members to each event because we know all 50 never sign up just because
Oh, I
not
see.
all of them can make it to all the events. But we
Is
still
that because
never
your lakes
have.
are small?
Well, Illinois only permits 50 people. Yeah.
Oh,
But Wisconsin, you can do more. So Wisconsin, we could technically do more, but we try to
right.
split it up between the 2 states. But yeah,
Okay.
Illinois is, and Illinois changed their permit thing this year too. So you have to give the state 10% of what you paid out. It's great. It's great.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
So yeah, they don't, I'm trying to think, do they charge for permit? No, Wisconsin charges for permits. I'm trying to remember what Illinois did. But yeah, it's so interesting how all the states differ for whether or not they charge for permits, like if you need to pay
insurance
fees,
and stuff.
insurance, all
Yeah.
these different things and whatnot. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole other ball game being a tournament director too, and
I
if you're going
know.
across different states and whatnot too.
Yeah, it sucks. Like we used, because we were catch and release, we used to not have to get permitting, and then I think they realized that they could make a lot of money off of us,
Right.
and so they
Yep.
started saying, well, if you're going to award more than $2,000 or have more than 85 participants, you have to pay this amount, and we always go over $2,000, and I don't want to be illegal. Like
Right.
that's stupid.
Yep.
I could fake it and like, quietly move money, but like that's not what I'm about. I want everybody to celebrate what people are winning and having a good time,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. As soon as they find out that money's
silly.
involved, then they're just
Oh, yeah.
like, oh, yep.
Where's my cut? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
How much are you making?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was
Yeah.
telling I don't make a damn dime. We don't make anything.
Right. We're doing this for free. We're volunteering to do all of this. Like, come
know.
on,
I always try to use my junior league as leverage for permits when I have to get them from like private entities. I'm like, well, we've got this nonprofit junior league.
Yeah,
That
that's a
doesn't
whole
help.
other thing too. Like I looked into starting and doing my first tournament thing as like nonprofit, and just to do that, oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
yes. And I was like,
I hate-
oh no, no.
I know a lot of clubs have boards and like multiple people helping, but like we don't. It's just myself and Joe, and it's because like we take on everything ourselves, like literally everything, and I don't, and that's fine. And there's just, I'm not saying I can't count on my members, but people come and go. They have a happen, and sometimes like for me and Joe, it's like, well, him and I are so in sync that it's like if this other person wants to do something different, if it doesn't work up to what Joe and I want to do, like then Joe and I don't want to do it anymore. We're doing it for free. So if it doesn't work to our schedule or the rules don't work to not our advantage, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
We're doing this for free. We're not, we're not trying to screw anybody over. We rarely win, very rarely, It's like, I want to keep this fun for him and I, because if it's not, somebody else has got to take over, and guess what? Nobody wants to do this.
As soon as it's not fun anymore, then it changes, and then it's just
100%.
not. Yep.
100%.
Yep.
And it's tough, but I again, if we could keep this fun and keep most people happy, then I've thrown out some really nasty gram like blanket statements, like, you don't get to talk to us this way. You don't get to demand changes. If you want to have it, you're totally fine. If you want to have, a say in something, like you need to, present it to us in a nice way. Like we'll listen to you and we'll take suggestions. But if you demand that we make changes because your boat tournaments do this,
right?
Yeah, bye. Like I'm sorry. Like we.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to listen to even less.
Right.
So,
okay, Karen.
Right?
Yeah.
When I keep encouraging people, so we're very, like I said, we're very family friendly. We're very like home oriented. Like if you want a more competitive league, go ahead and start it. Like I'll help you promote it.
Right.
If you've got tournaments on our off tournaments, I will let I'll promote them for you. Like that doesn't bother me. I'm not trying. I don't think I'm going to lose business. I'm not making money off of this. Like if we have anglers that would rather be more competitive, go ahead. Like that's fine. We're good. I'm happy.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yep. I totally know what you mean.
Good stuff.
That's right. Well, we are about at the hour mark. So I think at this point, if you don't have anything else, I wanted to give you a chance to shout out any sponsors or anybody else. And we'll wrap things up.
Awesome. Appreciate that. If you need to get a hold of me, I'm the Utah Anglerette on Instagram. I think there's underscores between each word. Erin Mathis on Facebook. I'll pretty much accept most friend requests. You know, we got to have like a few friends in common at least. Um, yeah, message us on Kayak Fishing Utah if you're interested in joining our group. Shout out to Joe Randall, who's my co-owner. He does Shoot Fish Live. Check out his YouTube. He's hilarious. Shows all of his fails, which are like way better than his awesome videos of catching fish. Idaho River Sports, who's been sponsoring me for the last 3 or 4 years. Really happy to be partnered with them. And then I just joined. I just got picked up by Millennium Custom Rods, and I'm really excited about this partnership. They do some pretty awesome custom rods between colors and guides and reel sets and everything like that. So check them out. Honestly, just if you feel like sponsoring some kids, hit me up. We got some juniors that would love some free stuff, you know. It's about getting our youth into the fishing world, and we do a lot of fun things, like we have a junior league bucket where adults can donate all their unused lures and stuff, and we'd give that whole bucket away to the angler of the year for
Wow.
at the end of the season, things like
That's
that.
cool. That's a good idea.
Heck yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
we ended up filling up 5 buckets our first year doing
Wow.
it. So then we gave one full bucket to one kid, and then the other 10 kids we split it amongst them. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, if you want to send some money our way, we'll go buy some stuff just for the juniors. Like that's what we do. We're not in it for the money. I make my own money. I got my own real job. I do this for fun, and this is my passion. This is I like to win. I almost miss winning a lot because I used to win a lot, but I think I get a lot more joy out of watching other people win. So, I like money more than that, but it's all about it's all about watching everybody else enjoy their time with us. So, yeah,
Very
we're
cool.
here for it.
That's
Awesome.
Thanks for
right.
having us on. I appreciate it. Kai and I are excited.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Erin. It's been a pleasure.
You too.
And and Sean, you want to close us out?
All right, guys. Well, Erin, thanks so much for coming on. It was awesome to hear about all those cool things, guys. Definitely check out the links in the show notes. If you're in the Utah area, check out the Utah Kayak Fishing League. And again, this has been the Bass Fishing for Noobs segment here on the PaddleNFin podcast, where we bring you the techniques, the tricks, and the tips to help you rip more lips. You guys have a good night.